So we're going to take a look at animating a complex shape with one variable. We're going to do it two different ways. We saw this last class, but I thought I would just remind people about this cloud here. Oh, perfect timing. Here comes the cloud. It's actually made up of 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got to make sure the volume's up. I'm not sure if that recorded, but who knows? We'll see. Yeah, this cloud is made up of 4 ellipses, but I'm just using one variable to animate it, and that's a good thing because you know what? You got so many variables, it's gonna get really complicated. I feel a little bit sad that I used X4. These names aren't fantastic, but you can always use comments to remind yourself about what different variables are. You can put them on the end of lines. Use these are small hills, for example. So X4 is my variable, and if you recall from last class, I used a little bit of math to combine the circles together into a single group that's all relative to this X4 position. So I'll zoom down to, oh yeah, by the way, if you ever are trying to find something in your code, it's probably not that hard at this point, but you can press Control F or Command F on a Mac, and you can just search up something. So I know I want to find ellipse, or I'm using X4. So I'll just search for that. You could replace as well, but I just want to find, and I'll just jump straight there. Yeah, there I am. Here's my cloud. So look at my cloud. It looks like it only uses X4 because my first cloud, the first ellipse of the cloud, that's the one that's on the top in the middle. So I've just kind of centered that one on X4. The one that's just below it, I just have the exact same ellipse except that the y coordinate is larger, and in this upside down y-axis universe, that means it's 50 pixels down, but still sort of still aligned horizontally. And then there's the one that's on the bottom a little bit to the left, and the other that's a little bit to the right. All I did was put a little bit of math in my parameter. I have minus 50 for this one and plus 50 for that one. So this one's going to be the one that's on the left because it moves, whatever X4 is, it'll be 50 pixels less than that. And this one is, going to be at whatever X4 is as well, but plus 50 pixels. And then when X4 changes, all 4 of those ellipses will move. And just to prove it, here's my X4. That's it. I'm saying if X4 equals X4 plus 1, and then I should not be a lazy person and put in my braces. If X4 equals 1,000, and I know it's going to get to 1,000 because I'm going up by 1, then I reset it back to whatever number. Hey, look at that. A complex shape, but I use one variable. So that's all well and good, and you can do that if you want to, but sometimes, like that's good for an ellipse group, things that kind of go together better. But that might get more complicated if you try to do a bigger shape. And I had an example of a bigger shape, and you guys are welcome to make your own. Here is mine, somewhere in here. Where are you? It's I don't think it's actually named yet. Yeah, this here. It's not really done. I only have 6 shapes. I'm going to suggest that you do a minimum of 10 shapes for your extra thing, in addition to your cloud. Also make sort of at least 10 shape thing. There's my bunny. So lovely. But no mouth. This bunny will starve to death. It's tragic. So I'll have to make some changes to that. No nose. Like it can't breathe. Like this thing is suffocating. No, but whatever. It's okay. So here is my code for it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to exactly use this code. I'm going to use these codes without inserting any variable into the parameters. Because it turns out there's another way to move things. So that way you can design a character or a building or whatever it is in a separate sketch and bring it over and still be able to make it move around. Like we're making the mountains and that kind of stuff move around. So I am going to bring this in. And I'm just going to show you guys, so don't try and do this with me. Some of you might have that ready to go from last class, but most of you don't. If you do, just be aware that this is what you would do. So I would just take my code. I wouldn't bring over size. I don't want to make a new window, but I'm going to bring over all the commands, all the functions that were part of drawing my bunny. I'm going to just copy them, Control-C. Definitely use Control-C. If you're going Edit, Copy, oh man, we're going to change your life this year. Anyone's edit copying, or if you right-click, that's a little bit better. Right-click, copy. No. Yeah, never. Just commit yourself right now. Control-C. This goes Control-X, Control-C, Control-V. Control-X is cut. They're like scissors. The X is a scissor. Control-C is for copy. This is the C from your perspective. Because it starts with the letter C. Control V is paste. I don't know why. Actually, it's just because it's beside X and C. But also, I think of it as a V as a down arrow, saying paste it here, right here. Try to use those. They work in every program. Chrome, Word, Notepad. Like everything ever made in computers uses Control X, Control C, Control V, or Command if it's a Mac. So yeah, Photoshop uses it. Excel uses it. I don't know. If you have text, you can do it. Discord uses it. Like everything uses it. So get used to that. It's a programmer skill. If you become a programmer and your boss sees you going edit, copy, oh man, it's all over. He's like, here's your pink slip. Get out of here. I'm just kidding, of course. But anyways, Control C. I'm Control C'ing it. And I'm going to bring it over here. And guess where I'm going to put it? Where I'm going to put that lines of code? I'm going to go where none of us have gone before. I'm going to go beyond the draw function. I know. There's a final brace here. Make sure you get to the final brace, by the way. Go all the way down. Look, it's oh man, it's line 99 even in my program. How auspicious. Line 99. Yours will be different, of course, so who knows what line is, but make sure you get to the bottom of your the program. You know, double check that when your mouse is beside that, that's highlighting see how it highlights the matching brace? Make sure it's highlighting the draw function brace, and then press enter and go a little bit further. We're going to make a brand new function, just like ellipse or line or rect. Somebody invented those. And we're going to invent you're going to invent whatever it is that your picture is. Mine's a bunny, so I'm making void bunny. And I'm just going to paste that code into there. And I'm not expecting anyone to follow along, so I'm probably going to go fairly quickly through it. So don't like be sitting here and watching and trying to cut and paste and be like, what's Control C? What? Like just take a look and see what I've done. Check it out. Void bunny has a brace that begins here and has all of my code from the bunny drawing program between its open and closed brace. And it closes again. And don't get your bunny and your draw functions mixed up. Like don't put the bunny function in the braces of the draw function. They should be separate. And in fact, it might be worthwhile, like just as you begin, putting some formatting just between your functions. I like to put a nice double equals, or you could use dash between the functions. Just be like, okay, there's my line. I'll commit myself to making sure I know where the end of a function is and just like draw that in with some text. And there's bunny. Guess what? You've extended the processing programming language. You can now use bunny. You can say bunny, and it will draw the bunny. So that's pretty cool. I'll do it right now. I'll put it in my draw function. I want it to be above my ground because I guess bunnies go underground. But if it goes underground, I won't see it. So I'm going to put it on top of my ground. So does that mean, here's a quick question for you guys. Just if you don't want to say it out loud, at least commit yourself to the answer mentally. Does that mean it's going to go before the ground? Or is it going to go after the ground? What do you think? If I want it to be on top of the ground, after. Yeah, after. You got it. And I can say bunny now. I've made a new function. It doesn't highlight because it's my own thing. And let's run this. I'll run it and we'll see. It's not quite what I expected it to be. It's orange. So what did I do wrong? Well, yeah, check it out over here. I didn't actually say what fill it should be until I made it black. So what fill is it going to use? Well, whatever the last fill was, and that was the fill from my ground, right? The last fill before I did bunny was fill yellow. So going into bunny, the color selected is yellow. So, I better make sure I specifically say fill white. Oh yeah, 255. The 256th shade of gray. So here's my bunny. It's just kind of flying along. But I want it to also like animate as well. I want it to make it move along as well. So we're going to learn how to make that happen with one variable. Let's go make that variable right now. Where do we make variables? Yeah, you bet. At the top above, setup. And you can put them in whatever order you want up here. I think I mentioned that we usually give these values in the setup. But you'll notice that I didn't do that. I did it when I declared the variable. And that's fine. Totally fine to do that. I feel like slightly ashamed. I'm like, but my code isn't what I told you it should be. That's okay. I like to think of setup as the place where we initialize all the things. But like, let's be honest, no one really wastes their time with like splitting it into multiple things because it's just so convenient to do it all at once. And we can do it all at once. So I'm going to make my bunny X. So what should I call that? My bunny's X variable. I could call it X11, carrying on. but it's not particularly descriptive. What would be a better name than X11? Because 11 means nothing to do with bunnies. Yeah, thanks, Jack. Bunny X. Bunny X. I like it. It's a little more typing, but generally speaking, more typing isn't a big deal. You know what takes you the most time in programming? It's not typing long variable names. It's finding what's wrong with your code. It's like, oh, this doesn't work. What's going on? So the extra 300 microseconds it takes for me to type those extra 4 characters or 3 characters on top of X11 pays dividends, because now whenever I read my code, I don't have to guess which is Bunny X. Is it X11? What is it? This is just gonna be, I know now, it's Bunny X. So I'm gonna start Bunny X at 0, and then I am gonna get the picture to move. I am going to throw in some pretty fancy looking commands. Where am I here? Here it is. So what I'm going to do, and don't run this yet, it's going to be a little wacky. I'm going to do something called translate. So translate, what it does is it moves the origin of the sketch. Where 0, 0 is, normally is in the top left-hand corner. But you can move that. And then before I draw the bunny, I'm just going to move the origin a little bit. And then I'll move it every frame, and so it'll appear to be changing and moving. This will look kind of ridiculous at first. So I'm going to say bunny x, comma, well, I guess we can move it down a bit. I'll just start with bunny x, comma, 0. And I think you'll see that nothing happens. I think I default value for bunny x was 0. Great. So take a look. It doesn't really do anything because I'm translating the origin to 0, 0. It's already at 0, 0. So that's fine. So I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it down. I'm going to move the origin 200 pixels down. And you're going to see something wacky happens. Oh, actually nothing wacky happened. So that was okay. So what happened? Well, when I go to draw this bunny, I've pushed the origin down, and therefore the coordinates of bunny, like 100, 100, are going to just be starting 200 pixels down. So relative to the original origin, that's actually, I've added 200 to the y coordinates of all these things. So before the bunny stuff happens, I just translate the origin down. I can go a little bit further down, maybe 300. And I'll just move all those things down. Oh, that's a little too low. 250, 210. Well, I won't get into it. We won't. You can adjust yours all you want. Great. And now you could also change bunny x. You could say, oh, let's say bunny x equals bunny x plus 5. What's gonna happen now? So every frame, the origin is going to move 5 pixels to the left before we draw the bunny. And so we'll see it move and never come back. Whoop, it's gone. See ya, bunny. Enjoy your carrots. But what this function does, I think, is pretty confusing. So we'll go over it one more time. Basically, translate is going to add this amount to whatever your x coordinates are after this, and this amount to all the coordinates, all the y coordinates of all the things after this. And if this is variable, then that's going to change every frame. It's going to start moving. And I can still just call like 100, 100, 200, 100, and so on, but the translate will add on an extra amount to the x and the y's. And then you could just program in a picture and make it move. You could bring over that robot, for example, from the first project. Although don't do that. I want you to, well, I don't know. Is that lame? I think it's a little bit lame to just copy paste that. But you could, theoretically, and then use translate to move it. There is some problems, though, with this, I will mention. And that is, what if this translate thing happened, like, not at the bottom of my code? What if you wanted to make the cloud translate? Well, if we did that trick with the cloud, then all the other things after it would also be translated as well. So if I did this trick with the cloud way up here, then I would translate the cloud, but I would also translate the hills and the foreground hills and the ground even. Everything would get shifted over. So you can still do it, but you have to add in 2 weirdo function calls. And I'll put them in here. You have to put in, ready for it? popMatrix. And at the end of it, sorry. It's actually not. It's pushMatrix is the first one, and popMatrix is the last one. And I spelled matrix wrong. Let's try again. And this is like slightly out of focus, which is probably driving somebody nuts out there. Someone's like, it's like so slightly out of it. There we go. If you wrap pushMatrix and pop, or if you start the translate with a pushMatrix and you end with a popMatrix, then it only translates this much stuff here. This is the only thing that's going to get translated. It's like now beginning translation. And when we get to popMatrix, it's saying, okay, put it all back the way it was. Like, don't translate anymore. Revert back to the old way that it was. So that's useful. You might wonder what's this matrix? Isn't that a movie with Keanu Reeves where they like dodge bullets like in slow motion? Matrix comes from a kind of algebra. Matrix algebra or linear algebra. It's awesome math. It's amazing math where you have grids of numbers that you multiply together in certain ways. And all of 3D graphics is just grids of numbers being multiplied. It's amazing. If you ever play Overwatch and you're like watching your character like turn around and like jump over things, it all is just your computer multiplying grids of numbers together. It's incredible. And that's where that term comes from. And there's actually matrix multiplication happening to move origins around. But honestly, you don't need to know any of that. And we're not going to teach you any of that because that's like university level math. Yeah. So just know that this means push means your beginning, pop means your ending, which is actually another computer science set of terms you'll find out more about later on. But this push means start, pushMatrix is start, popMatrix means end. So just to make sure we understand why that is, I'm going to put the bunny where the clouds are, and I'm going to do it without push and popMatrix, and we'll see what happens. And then we'll put the push and popMatrix inside. So maybe just in front of the cloud, I'll put bunny, and we'll see the bunny like not move at all. There it is. It's hiding behind the clouds like a giant super bunny waiting to like, I don't know what. Like waiting. Soon I will destroy you. Oh. And now I'm going to translate, and I'm doing it up here. So translate bunny x 250. So why this isn't going to work is because there's other things after it that are also going to get affected by that translate. Watch what happens. Blah. And then the translates. Look, the place where things are starting is moving as well because that origin is getting like pushed away. So all the coordinates are getting messed up. So push and pop to the rescue. pushMatrix, popMatrix, like a superhero team. They're like twins that have the power to move the origin and like move things with their mind. This is way too much. I gotta stop. But anyways, pushMatrix, popMatrix. Oh, sorry. I saw his ears. His ears are like behind here. I don't know. I better raise it up. Not 250, but let's just do 0. You can see it's moving, and just the bunny is moving. The push and pop protects it, so only that translate is affecting the bunny code, not all the rest of the other code. So that's going to be another technique for you to use to make a complex shape. And the whole way to get it to loop back to the beginning, exactly the same as all of your other if statements. You're just going to make an if statement that once it gets to a certain place, it's going to come back. You have to think about what those values are going to be, and I'll leave that as an exercise for you to think about. You know what? Trial and error will get you there one way or another. I'm just going to put this back and just quickly run over this one more time. So remember, you're going to make yourself a separate sketch where you're going to design some kind of a thing. It could be a car, it could be a bunny, it could be I don't know, whatever you want, any kind of character. And then you're going to copy and paste it into a new function that you're going to give a name to, whatever you want that function to be called. Try to stick to just words. And then it looks just like void draw or void setup. You're going to say void and then the name of your choice, 2 parens, and then the brace and close brace. And then all that code that is the drawing of the thing you made is going to go between those things. Yeah? Good? All right, then you can call that. You can make that code happen by saying bunny. And I'm going to do mine after the ground. Where's my ground? Here it is. So I'm going to say bunny. And you got to put in the parentheses. One day we'll learn what those are for, but not today. And to make that move, you're going to make a variable like bunny x, and you're going to use that inside of a translate function call. So bunny x, and then you can change the height of it as well if you want to. And then if you decide that you're going to put it in the background, instead of at the very end of your program, you're going to need pushMatrix and popMatrix. In fact, it might be good just to use those anyways, just to make sure. And that will sort of make sure that that change in origin only happens to the bunny code. So I think I'll just end by doing a quick rect. I'm going to fill with black. I'm going to do a rect at 0, 0. This will be maybe 20 by 20. And just watch. That represents the origin, right? I'm going to make a 20 by 20 rect at the origin just to prove that it's this translate that's moving the origin. So that little black rectangle, there it is. That's marking where the origin is. The translate shifting over the origin. And that's, I'm saying this over and over again, so hopefully it's making sense. But that's the story behind getting a complex shape to move. Okay, any questions? It's your turn to try. So you're going to make what I've got up here or better. The bunny should, or whatever you make, should loop back around. But I'll let you guys sort of do that, and I'll just stop the recording and let you get to work. Thanks, everybody. If